Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. Welcome to the AI Tech Salon. You're chilling here with my host, Fernando, and my co-host, Ronald Manick, is currently out today. So stay tuned, and we're going to have a really cool show. We're going to showcase some AI-generated apps using Cursor, a little bit of stuff going on with V0 design, also talk about some of the stuff that's going on in AI news, and at the very end, kind of leave it open to you as far as any questions and so forth. And I thought, why don't we just kind of hop right in and start kind of talking about some of the latest announcements in AI tech. So appreciate you joining in. And today, what's kind of been happening that's been going on this past week is that Google DeepMind has actually announced something over the coming days that basically allows you to start creating what these things called gems. And gems are really interesting because, as you can see, they're their version of talking to experts. And in some ways, you can kind of, if you've ever used ChatGPT, they have this concept of kind of putting a bunch of information into like an expert and that you can go ahead and talk to. And so they have a code reviewer, a resume editor, and so forth. And Google has kind of been able to do that with this type of, with their model called Gemini. Not only with this, they've also improved their image generation with this new Imagine, IMAGEN, or Image Gen. To say the least. So for those who are just joining in, you're welcome to drop in any comments, and streaming live currently on X, on YouTube, also on Twitch. And so Mark, hey, how's it going, Mark? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. So appreciate it. Drop any comments you like, and stay tuned, and going to interact here. So this is how we keep it going today. And so there's also, this is the thing about Google and so forth that's talking about gems. So if you haven't had a chance, there's a Google Gemini Advanced. Business customers and enterprise customers can start creating and chatting with gems. And then that's supposed to like basically speed up your workflow if you're kind of, already using this. So I have it actually set up with my business. I have an email account with Google. And what I do is just turn on Gemini. And then the whole point is I want it to eventually just reply to my emails, have a lot of context about my calendar and various things, so that eventually in the future, when I connect it to my Google Drive and stuff, you should be able to do all these things. So as an AI enthusiast myself, I tend to look out for these projects, and I come across them and it's like, hey, this is probably pretty cool. In terms of where things are, this is a very early stage thing. So if you're relying on it for your business, if you're experimental, definitely go ahead and try. I'm not going to stop you from trying, but if you think it's totally ready, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and keep trying it and probably update you back when you get back here. So the only live streams I keep up with, hey, I appreciate that. That's really, really cool. Yeah, just doing this live stream thing, and have a show every Friday here. It's called the AI Tech Salon for those who are just joining in. And we're going to be going over some news and a little bit of updates of what's going on in AI. So that way you're kind of aware of what's going on in the trends. And I hope that you get inspired to maybe use some of these ideas for the topics. So let me just kind of get some of the mood kind of going here with the music. All right, so the next thing that's kind of up on our plate here is this thing called the LTM2 Mini. And so this researchers have been able to produce a model that has a model with the 100 million context window. So just for context, you can do 10 million lines of code. If you can believe that, that's really, really insane, or 750 novels. And so when you ask these models today, usually their token or context window is about 120 or 150,000 tokens. And then Google Gemini, or Google, their advanced models have about 1 million tokens, or 1.5 million, sometimes even 2. But 100 million just completely blows it out of the water, which is really, really insane. So it's really amazing how these models continue to advance in the research that's kind of going on here. And so this is, I think, available for researchers. And this is something that I just kind of want to keep you aware about. It's not something that you can immediately do something with unless you're kind of one of these people who are super tapped in. But basically what that means for us is the fact that you can put in a lot of code. You can probably put in YouTube videos. And so imagine being able to talk to Andre Kaparthi or some expert who has hours of content, or lectures from a course at Stanford. You put them in this thing. It's going to be able to take all of that stuff. It's going to take all these different essays and things, and then you can start to interact with it and create your own courses, create your own apps and stuff. And so it's really important for me to stay up on these latest types of updates, because it gets me thinking about where things are going in the future. And it's just, really kind of mind blowing if you start to kind of think about how like this research is kind of coming in. And if you're interested in this type of research, I would just suggest you follow me on X. And so my profile is at RayFernando1337, which is kind of that handle you see there. And I do a lot of like retweeting all the time of things I see that are really interesting, stuff that's currently out there as well. And like really cool stuff like for prototyping and various things. So definitely kind of follow me for that. I do Apple MLX and these types of developments. So beyond that, it's kind of really cool. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. And another cool update that is actually happening is that I actually just got my email as well. And I got invited to the OpenAI Developer Day in San Francisco. So that's going to be taking place on October 1st. So it's going to be a really cool announcement from OpenAI. And they have stuff to be released, and I'm going to be in the room with them. It looks like a bunch of other people who are in the development community also received invites as well. And this is going to be like demo sessions, reception, and community spotlights. So I might even do like a special live stream there, depending on if I'm allowed to do the setup. So I'm going to reach out to them and see if I'm allowed to do a live stream, because it'd be really fun to get some live interviews. Maybe shake hands with Sam Altman would be really fun. And who knows like what other stuff you get to do. So that'd be really cool. I just wanted to let you know that I'll be hanging out there with y'all. So another section that I like to do for my show here is, let me see if I can cue up some music. So what's cool is like I like to showcase apps that I see online that are really fun. And so Mario is using this new thing where you can actually on your phone generate images using the Flux, which is the new image provider there. And so that image provider thing's like super awesome. So so like let's see. Oh, McKay, make sure to find me there, brother. Yes, McKay Wrigley. Yes, I got you actually featured down here. Later on, I'm going to talk about you. I have a cool thing that you have going on, especially talking about cursor stuff. So Flux image generator. So with this app here, with what you can do is actually type in on the iOS app, like whatever you want, and it's going to generate the images. And usually within like 1 second or two, it'll produce them back. And this is really cool because right now, mobile development is a little more challenging than like web development, because a lot of the APIs are set up for backend and front end services. But there's this cool folks from this company called AI Proxy Pro. And so with AI Proxy Pro, which is really cool, is that he's been able to hook up this whole thing using this framework. And what Lou, who we interviewed earlier, we have an episode here on the AI Tech Salon podcast, describes in like intimate detail like the security and all the different stuff he had to do in order to make his AI proxy work so that you don't leak your keys onto the device and so you don't get hacked and stuff. So they're doing their full-time thing and they offer some really cool stuff. So Mario was able to take this boilerplate code here and build his app experience on top of that, and it's currently live in the App Store. So this app here is called, I think it's the Flux IMG. So if you search it, you'll see it there. I'll also have this featured in the notes so that y'all can take a look. So this is something that's really awesome, that you can just send some messages on your phone, generate images, right there, right like on the go. So that's a little bit different than using like DALL-E. And I feel like, the experience there is really cool. So it's something that I'm very interested in. I'm actually going to start to maybe do some device development stuff. I haven't touched that stuff in a very long time. So I'll get to see what's changed and see what's happening in the latest Swift hotness. Something else that I wanted to showcase today was this thing called Mini Perplex. So Perplexity is a service that allows you to go and find some information on the internet. And not only does it take your search, but it does to try to think about what you're trying to search for. So if you say something like, restaurants near me or help me plan a vacation to Venice, it's going to try to think about like, is it right now that you're doing it, and try to do some other searches on your behalf. And Zaid is a really fun person who's been giving a lot of updates about this and has kind of made a minimal version of this Perplexity thing, and which I find really, really satisfying. So if you haven't had a chance to definitely go check out Mini Perplexity, I'll also have that in the show notes as well for y'all to check it out. And moving on to the next thing that I want to kind of showcase here was about image generation. So this group of Spanish photographers got their hands on Javi Lopez's new thing called FreePick. FreePick is called Mystic. So the AI model is called Mystic, and it's available at this place called FreePick. And what they've been able to do has just been absolutely stunning and mind-blowing. So this, if you can believe it or not, is actually AI generated. So that image, let me see if I can get rid of the Ask Grok thing here, is completely AI generated, if you can believe that. So this image here with the details, like these guys. And what's really interesting about photographers is they are really good at understanding light and how to position light to make it look so real. So like if I were to give you this image as like a, photographer, you would think like, hey, thank you for hiring the model for me and taking the shots. Cause like this looks completely real. Like I don't see any problems with these images. It's so hard to tell that they're AI generated, if you could even believe that. So this is kind of where it's going. And this is a new model from this company called FreePick, and Javi Lopez is the founder of Magnific. And Magnific has done some amazing stuff with model generation. And so they've released their new model called Mystic. And these are all like Mystic generated images. He has like tutorials and stuff. And I actually got access to this as well. So I'm definitely going to try to do a live stream to kind of show you, how to generate some images with it that look kind of real. And then kind of how to like maybe use it for some of your website designs. So I thought that was kind of really cool. Speaking of AI art generation, I just saw this today from Ravenquack, and what he was able to do was train his own model to look at his actual image of his face or whatever he's looking at. And this cool thing actually generates art based off the image. And it looks like something you would see in an art museum. And it's kind of cool because he actually is going to go put it into a museum in Dubai. And it's coming this September. Yeah, exhibit at the Foundry Dubai. So like you just stand on top of it and it generates this art. And I really like these concepts because it's extremely like taking abstract art and kind of bringing it into the real. But it's also training these different AI image models to do really cool creative things. So I feel like this is a really fun space. It's important to stimulate my creativity so that I can get inspired when I build apps and do different things and do that stuff. Yeah, isn't this really cool? I think this is probably like the coolest thing ever for like, the way the art generates and stuff like that, just kind of the way it looks. So I want one of these in my house, just like a big screen and just kind of moving or just have like a live stream where it just kind of just does this. That'd be really kind of, and play some chill beats and stuff. That'd be really fun to kind of do that. So moving on a little bit into like the development world, Nico just today has released this new thing called Context Aware AI is Magic. So he's basically showing us a template that's available as an open source RAG. So RAG, for those who aren't familiar, is a retrieval augmented generation. It's just a fancy way of saying like chat with your PDF as one application that it's become pretty popular. It's one of the things. Like imagine having a 100-page PDF and you're trying to ask like, hey, what's the HOA policy for having my garage door open? You should be able to type it in and it tell you. This is very handy, especially if you have code bases or various things. And I'm just kind of being extremely high level here. There's obviously a lot more intimate details about how that type of system works and whether that type of system is right for you. But I feel like this is something that you should be aware about that they've released. But not only have they released, but they've also have the app available that you can clone and play around with as far as a template. And then they have a big write-up explaining how the AI SDK works. And the AI SDK is something that I use a lot from Vercel. And so what's nice about the AI SDK is that it's a really great base knowledge there that connects to all these AI SDK providers from all these different companies, and then will allow you to do, and then they completely optimize a lot of that stuff for the browser there. So moving on to our friend McKay, make sure to find me there, brother. Oh, I think McKay Wrigley is going to be going to the OpenAI event. So that's kind of what you're maybe saying there as well. Yes. So that'd be cool. I'm excited. That'd be really fun to see you at the OpenAI event on October 1st. So McKay Wrigley has been putting a lot of amazing content out there for Cursor. And if you aren't familiar, he actually has a course that's going to be available from Takeoff. And just to kind of demonstrate what he's been cooking with, this boy cooks, if you know what I mean. He's been able to generate a backend with a single prompt. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, one prompt. And then he gets a full-on backend. So he has a 2-minute video here, just basically explaining how he does this. And so this is in this video on X, it's kind of listed there. And then you scroll down is like the prompt. So this epic prompt, you just basically put this into a file, this whole thing, and it's like the setup steps. And then you can do, create a whole backend and stuff. And so what's super handy about something like this, and like just the Cursor community in general, is the fact that people are sharing some of these things, or you can purchase something to help you learn. And then you take that and say, okay, my backend's a little bit different. Let me see if I can set it up this way. And that's part of the reason why I'm really, really excited about Cursor, is because it allows you to, like, if you are a developer or if you have some experience, to kind of put your mind into a different way of thinking and then generate stuff really quickly. And if you just give it some instructions, which these language models are really good at following, they can do this stuff in super duper fast fashion. So definitely go check out McKay Wrigley. He's got his, like I said, at McKay Wrigley here. And then he has this thing called Takeoff AI. And then in here, this is like his course that he's selling, and there's like a 25% launch discount. And so he's currently building a lot of apps right now, a lot of content for this. And yeah, we're planning to do a code stream together once he gets some of this stuff all finished up, so that we can kind of chat about our workflows and share some of our experiences and stuff. And this Sunday, I actually have a code stream with my co-host, Ronald Manak. So we're going to try to also, I'm going to see if I can show him and see if we can connect to Swift UI development environment, so if we can get that stuff going there. So moving on a little bit, we have this thing from Lee Robinson from Vercel, and he also has another video about Learn V0. And for those who aren't familiar with V0, V0 is a prototyping platform that allows you to just put in a prompt and generate an app. And the apps that people have been able to make are ranging from 3D games, like literally like calculators. You can run the code right in the browser, and then you can just keep updating your app. So people make apps or components and stuff, and then they're able to put them, they make full-on landing pages. It's just been really, really great to play around with this type of technology. And, you know, Lee has a 10-minute video here. I'll also have this link below in the details after the show. And I'm also going to have like a blog post about this as well, so you can follow along. Because there's a lot of really good resources here that I feel like could be very useful for everyone. And so on top of that, whenever you have a chat that's going on in V0, these little sections of code can actually be shared as little blocks. And to me, they're almost like apps. So what I did was, like, I was hanging out at the gym, and what I did is, like, I want to make a keyboard. I want to make a weight converter, because I'm frequently at the gym and I'm having to convert like kg to lb. So all I have to do is type in, like, you know, what's 100 kilograms, and it changes to 220. All right. And because I'm constantly logging this stuff into my app to to do like the right weight measurements and stuff. And so that's kind of what I could do. And I could switch to pounds. So if I have, you know, like 30 pounds weights, then it's like 13.61 kilograms and stuff. And this was just made using one prompt. I just said, make a simple app that will let me convert kg to lb, which is pounds, or vice versa, and should be intuitive and easy. And what I also do in my prompting is I give it extra stuff, like be sure to use design principles from Dieter Rams and take inspiration from clean interfaces like Apple UI, UX and stuff. And so one of my favorite designers is Dieter Rams, and I'll probably have to launch into that into like a separate episode, but just about prompting. But I used to work at Apple for 12 years, and I used to be around a lot of designers and people who were really into design, and they take a lot of design inspiration from him. And you'll actually be very surprised about how many designs Apple has, like, not copied, but has been inspired by them. And just from my experience of just noticing how these things work. And just with that, has that context to kind of pull these things into to build stuff in like one prompt. So it's pretty cool stuff. And then somebody was also able to build this really cool like 3D interactive thing. So let me kind of move myself to the side so you can see this. Dean, how's it going? Welcome. Hello. I appreciate the comments and stuff. It's always really fun. So can you believe that this was built with V0? So it's a galaxy-shaped pyramid cluster. So I can zoom out with my mouse. You can see it in the galaxy shape. And then you see the stars in the background, if you could think about this. So like this is literally happening in my browser as an app. And I could say, show me the code. And this is the code that it's done. And then what's cool about this feature here, if you hit fork will basically allow you to take this and continue to build on top of it. So I could say, instead of the shape of a pyramid, can we do it in the shape of, I don't know, like a headphone or something, and like see what it does, right? So like you can do a lot of cool things. Or instead of the shape of a galaxy, can we just do it in the shape of Ray? Let's just fork it. Block forked, redirecting to new chat. Okay, so that's going to do its own thing. And then, yeah, we're going to go ahead and hide the code. And that'll basically kind of do that. So I don't think I want to kind of walk through that right now. So speaking of which, what I'm actually doing is, you know, we're talking about all this prompting stuff, talking about Cursor. And I have actually made my new landing page to announce that I'm doing a free experimental Cursor workshop. So I have never ran a workshop before, and I'm completely new to all this. And I'm actually completely blown away by all the love that people have been able to share and retweet for my live stream. So I have like 212,000 people who have viewed it, a ton of likes, including myself, because I like to like my own stuff. So I could find it later. And like there's just been an immense amount of interest, and I'm still trying to get back to all the DMs from people to help them out. And I thought, well, you know what would be really helpful actually would just be to actually launch my own experimental workshop, and for free. And the goal here is to really just kind of take you through how I build my AI apps, and then like kind of an introduction to Cursor and getting started, and like how I go through ideas, a little bit of prompting stuff, and then kind of we're building this together and also interact. So I wanted to let you know about it. I need to hook up like the sign up for free button so that you can actually sign up with an email address. And then when you hit sign up, it does something really interesting. And so, yeah, this is a site. Obviously, I built this with Cursor because I can. It just is kind of like I built this with Cursor. You have to build it with Cursor if I'm going to teach Cursor. But yeah, like it has the full like mobile experience as well. And, it even has little testimonials from people's like YouTube videos who like left comments. So I pulled that in. So this is really fun. I think even just talking about this design is really, really great. Custom fonts and all that stuff. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm kind of working on that, and I want to make sure that I can serve everyone as much as possible. And I kind of want to learn about how you do development. So I feel like this is perfect for someone who is getting started, a little bit confused of kind of how to navigate things. Maybe if you're approaching it from a project manager standpoint and you've worked with a lot of people with code and you want to go from like idea to an app. How do you do that? What does that look like? What are the different types of things you want to do? So definitely, like I would say, like send me a DM. Like if anything, send me a DM. The direct messages basically allow me to stay in contact with you, and it's like our personal relationship. So I want to continually stay in contact with you and be able to reach out and like get feedback, because feedback for me is very important. I've never done this stuff before, so the more feedback I get, the better I can help you. So this is kind of the way it is. I'd also like to know like what time zones y'all are in, because a lot of people who are watching this are going to be watching the stream later on, and when it's rebroadcasts through X or YouTube. And so that's going to be very helpful when you reach out to me and like, hey, I'm in this time zone and I want to have different workshops that are going to be free and available for you at different times wherever you're at, and not a replay, because the whole point of it is to be interactive and kind of interact live. And so I don't know yet where to host it, and I'm still kind of trying to figure all this stuff out. But yeah, would just like to know a little bit of like who you are, what you're working on, and then like what time zone you're in, so that we can try to figure this out together. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on lately in the AI news. I appreciate everyone who's out there who's been tuning in. So the alpha right now is in teaching the little details to the no coders. Yes, Andres. I feel like there's a lot of different ways where this stuff can go. And this can go in like, a lot of different directions. So it's literally like you have people who have ideas to want to make apps, and then you can do that very quickly. And then you have the developers who are very experienced saying, how could this help me? How could this do X, Y, Z? And then you also have people who are like sort of in between saying, well, it doesn't really code the full app. You can't go from like idea to launching a SaaS, with this yet completely with one hand or something like that. And people are going to be very quick to point out all these negative details. And I think if you have someone who's experienced to help you along, I think that could be helpful. You just don't walk into a gym overweight, not having lifted anything, and just kind of, figure it out. You can, but you start to like try to look for information. You go on YouTube. You go on like searching for stuff. You talk to friends. Do you lift? You go with some friends. They teach you how to lift. And I think it's really important to build community. And community is really important because many people have gone through the development path of trying to teach themselves. And that is very painful to do it alone, like super painful. It's even more painful for me because I found out I was dyslexic. So it just made it like 10 times harder to read. And you cannot imagine how much pain I went through to try to learn development and stuff. And I feel like I've had a lot of experience. I used to work at Apple for 12 years. And so I've actually shipped a lot of software, and I was part of like a lot of update systems. And so a lot of stuff that I worked on, like billions of people have used it and updated with it. And it's like really mind blowing, but I got to see a lot underneath the hood. And I also got to see a lot in a very professional environment where software is continually focused on consumer electronics. And it's like one of the most loved companies in the world. and like, one of the most successful as far as like keeping things simple. And I try to bring those principles in myself because I was around a lot, and I also pushed a lot for quality and in these types of experiences. So I'm trying to bring that into stuff that I work with, and I want to bring that a little bit into you as well. So I will give the details for the sign up link. They will be available in the description. I'm trying to get the site finished up so that you can sign up for the workshops and you can figure out. I'm still trying to figure out what the time zones are and stuff. So please, thank you for your patience and stuff. And so if you're liking this right now, if you haven't had a chance to, on X, it should allow you to go to the stream and then hit that little like retweet button so that you can retweet and just tell people about this, because the more people you tell, the more helpful it is. So definitely appreciate that. If you're also on YouTube, you should be able to like hit the little share button and be able to share, hit the like, and also like, drop any comments and stuff. So I want to take this like last part of the show to really kind of, talk with you about, stuff that you're doing right now. And definitely, it's always really fun to kind of read the comments, like kind of like stuff's going on. So like Mark says, let's go. Yes, definitely appreciate that. And, for folks who are just tuning in, basically this is called the AI Tech Salon. And this is something that I do every Friday, with my friends, with you, and I try to like showcase things that are going on in the news, stuff that could be helpful that I see in development that's really fun, and also try to connect with you at a personal level to share my time, because I feel like it's really important to connect and create community. And I'm also going to be like working and trying to really hard to get as much as people as possible to kind of work together and make peaceful vibes so that we can kind of all hang out on X together. So I feel like let's go into space, my friends. This is just gonna be really cool. So learning cursor, but I'm that fat person entertaining, entering the gym. Yeah, in my example earlier, it's important to have community, have people around to help. And I'm still new to this. I've never like done stuff, and I want to try to like give back as much as possible and also learn from you to help guide this process, because I feel like that's going to be probably like one of the biggest keys. And if you're able to like take one of these ideas and say, hey, I've always wanted to make this thing. Can I make it using V0, v0.dev/chat? And if I go like this and then say, okay, I want to make, generate a SaaS pricing calculator, or how can I schedule cron job or implement code, like something you had in your mind, you're like, that could just save me at work so much time. Do it. Just go in and do it. Like if you go do it and make an app and you tell me like you did it, I will retweet it. I will share it with the world. I will showcase it on the show, because I think it's so important to build and inspire. And that's kind of how I do it. Like I get inspired from other people, from seeing cool projects like this. Like, whoa, like just think about if people go to my webpage and then like I have something like this, but it's in the shape of like, my name or something like that, and it animates, like that'd be so cool, right? And so we learn from others. I feel like I'm a very community-driven person to learn from others as well. So I also inbox you, but no reply yet. Hey, Andres, yes, I will get back to you. If not, actually, go ahead and ping me again so you go to the right top. I'm still going through all the messages. I literally have like hundreds, and I'm like going by the order of the way that people have sent them. And so I do want to help, and I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm really seriously going through because I'm actually trying to create that personal connection. And I'm not having an AI go through and send you like a reply saying, hey, click this link to learn more, or like sign up for my course or something. I'm literally just saying, hey, what are you working on? What's going on? So I'm having these back and forth things, and I want to make sure that it's personal and not like very cold. And to me, I value personal relationships more than just sending boilerplate stuff. I got this awesome app idea, but I'm stuck in the build an AI part. How do I set up an open source LLM and train it like a pro? Any tips on non-coder looking to drive into AI pool? Thanks, you're the best. Hey, Ray, how's it going? Oh, Ray Hirori. Yeah, I got lots of ideas, actually. I think I would say, Ray, just send me a DM. We can chat back and forth, because I feel like there's a lot of different avenues that this can kind of go down, and then kind of figuring out like build an AI part. Sometimes is like AI even needed, right? And like setting up an open source LLM is pretty fun and pretty easy. There are some tools like that I like to use. It's called like Ollama. So ollama.com is really fun. And so Ollama is really cool is that you can download this on your Mac or your PC or whatever, and they have the open source models available. So if you go to the models section here at the top right, what that will do is basically allow you to select the latest model, like Llama 3.1 and these different things. And then from there, like you can actually start chatting with the models and interacting with it. And then there's a whole number of products and stuff that, I should probably just make a whole separate show on how to use open source models and how to run them locally, because there's some really cool stuff. There's even some like open source chat apps that you can have where you can drag images and have your own version of like basically ChatGPT or Anthropic, but offline. So when you're traveling on a plane, you can do all that stuff and not have to worry about a connection to the internet, which is really, really cool. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Hey, Rob, how's it going? Thanks for joining in. I'm really skilled at make.com, but definitely feels like I'm doing things the hard way with the no code at this point. I need to get into proper AI coding. Rob, you're a legend. So for those who haven't followed, Rob is an AI whisperer and is extremely talented at staying up to date with all the latest AI stuff. And so if you haven't had a chance to go, definitely follow him. But I agree as far as like the coding stuff, and the people who have done no coding platforms have eventually started to basically learn how to code, because the amount of detail that's required to do the cooler stuff actually requires, moving beyond a little bit about that. So I feel like we'll just come hang out and try and play. And so I will be, after the workshop, I'm trying to set up a Discord community that we can all go into and then kind of start playing around. I feel like by the community members kind of hanging out, we can all kind of experiment together and show you like, here's maybe how I would approach the problem or how I would make this app. So we can kind of try to figure that out. I think that's a really good point. Yeah. I think proper AI coding is kind of, what's really nice. I feel like if you've had the chance to play around with this no code stuff, it gives you a little bit of sense of feel of what basic requirements you need and how to structure your app and ideas. And it also gives you a little bit of a visual of how the data is going to flow through your app, which is probably the most important thing. So if you come from a even like no code background or haven't coded at all, I would check out some of these no code platforms like make.com. And so make.com will allow you to basically kind of say, I want to connect ChatGPT to do something so that every time I get, I think it's make.com. Yeah. Every time I get to like a message or something, I want you to do something with it. So as you can see, it's this, when a new service request comes in, that someone fills out, it's going to go to like notify somebody on Slack, and it's going to create a record on the database and also send you an email or something like that. So if you can understand some of these basics, I feel like that's going to help you go pretty far, Rob, which you already do. And then like the code thing is just going to be another cool thing that adds on top of it. And so, yeah, we should be able to kind of discuss some of those things. And then can you share that prompt for the Galaxy, or is there a site where you can share it? Yes, there actually is a site, and I have it on my X account, and I'm actually planning to share it. But right now, I'll put this in the chat so that you can click it since you're on YouTube. So if I reply right now, you'll be able to see this v0.dev/chat thing show up with the clusters. And so you should be able to click that. So I've put this in the chat. As you can kind of see, this is streaming across there. And then you should be able to click that and kind of go play around with it and stuff so that you can play. So definitely appreciate it. So that'd be really cool. And so some other questions. This is... can you share the prompt? Yes, we did. Do you use Vercel for deployment? Mark, I do a couple things. Yes, I use Vercel and I also use Replit. So I use Replit. I've been using Replit a lot more just because I have a lot of these quick ideas that, I want to get out. So literally I'm at the gym on my phone and I just kind of send that over to Replit and then kind of publish it, which is kind of really fun. And then I'm using Vercel a lot for like my deployments. For like the bigger stuff, I use Next.js. So for example, like my landing page, with my thing that I'm working on, this is definitely Vercel, because what I wanted to do is like I wanted to have completely like everything optimized for my site so that even if you're like on mobile, everything's like nice and like resizes perfectly. I wanted very specific fonts and I wanted like a certain button thing to go on. And even just like the way the mobile layouts work. And as you see, like it's extremely fast and very performant. And then what's really great, the page speed score is really high. So yeah, I just wanted to do tons of optimizations and kind of nerd out as like a developer. So that's kind of what I was using. That's why I use Vercel for it. I could use other things, but I just don't want to spend a lot of time doing DevOps. That just kind of saves me time. So just starting with Cursor. So I wonder with Claude 3.5, Sonnet, and Cursor, do you really need V0? Tom, I don't really need V0, but what I do use V0 a lot for is to get started on like components or get started with an app idea. And so I find for me that since I'm already a Vercel like paying customer, the V0 chats thing I think is included in that, or I forget what it is. So for me, it kind of gets like a lot of the prompting and a lot of the stuff out of the way, because you may be limited if you're not paying for the account, that like you only have so many type of generations to generate with Sonnet 3.5. And also Cursor, you have like about 500 fast, generations. So I want to save those for actually going through my code or giving my marketing plan to my code and having it implement the text, from like a template or something like that. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. Rob, yeah, let's do it. The hardest thing for me isn't the code per se, but it's that I don't really know how to deploy it. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have to like go through some different deployment options. I think that could be very helpful for you and probably for others, I think, for us to do this stuff. Jarizito. Loving the stream. I've dived in recently. Got to be honest, I don't understand everything, but love learning. Not sure about Vercel versus Replit, and can I use V0 with Replit? Yeah, so V0 is just kind of like a templating, like allows you to generate the code. And then with Replit, it's a coding environment so that you don't have to use your computer to code. You can literally code from a web browser. The advantage, what's really nice and why I like Replit, is because you're already coding in a container, and that's already on the internet. So theoretically, going from there to publish should be able to be, pretty quick, and you'll find a lot of issues. It's a pretty, like, once you kind of understand the basics and kind of deployment, and you kind of start to look up some stuff and we work with it together, I feel like you'll start to kind of conquer those things and kind of get a grasp of different deployment things. And I'll see if I could share some videos, because there's a really good one from Web Dev Cody that explains deployment environments that can be a little bit helpful. But yeah, and then Vercel, like they're focused a lot on like Next.js as a platform, and Next.js, has a lot of moving parts and a lot of different things. So it's a little bit kind of crazy and out there, and you can make apps really fast if you know what you're doing. But if you don't, if you're still kind of beginner, it can be a little cumbersome and a lot to take in, especially if you haven't done any web development things. So just kind of giving a heads up there. So yeah, cool. So I think we're kind of approaching the end of the questions here, and I really appreciate everyone who's taken the time to take a look. Be on the lookout for my links so that I can share with you, so you can sign up for my little free stream thing. So super jealous of your live stream setup. Yeah, isn't it cool, Rob? It's so fun. I love this whole like live stream thing. And so for those who don't know, I have basically, multiple cameras. I got like a nice little camera here all set up and crispy. And then I also have this camera here, which kind of follows my face. Let me set it up to follow my face. That's probably why. Yo, this is cool. It's the Osmo Pocket 3, which is really fun. And then I also have the thing that kind of basically shares my screen. So just as you know, like, this is kind of what my camera looks like right here. And then I have this little guy down here for my little board and my little thing here. And then we have like the screen with the screens. So so you have all that stuff. And then we have all my like Apple swag and my things there. So yeah, this is basically me, my house and the stuff that's going on. So yeah, no, it's so fun to tune in, and you can kind of see what things look like a little bit behind the scenes, because it's just so fun. So, oh snap. Yeah. Live comments are sweet. Yeah, I do love the live comments. I think, to me, live streaming is totally my thing. I feel like I can get a lot more across on a live stream than I can sitting down to write something, because, it's just so hard for me to write or read. It's just easier to just show you kind of how things work. And that's kind of why I'm really excited about, running these free workshops. I have no clue how to structure them, but, I feel like just show up, we'll hang out. And so I want to kind of figure out, what time zones people are in, and try to get everyone in there together, maybe do multiple of these types of things, because I think that's going to be pretty key for us to like learn and grow together as a community. And I'm just really excited about people who have these ideas, they get their apps and publish them. And then I'll also be doing more live streams where I'm coding with other people, also coding and updating my own apps. I want to update one of my existing apps and add some other things. And I also want to take an app that I have and add authentication. Because I actually have an app that does YouTube timestamps. And so with that, let's see, where is my timestamps? Let me go to my projects and stuff so I can pull it up so you can see it. And so what's really cool is that I actually generated some of the UI using Vercel V0. And then from there, I was able to make an epic prompt. So let me see if I can change my screens now. So for here, basically what we have is this thing where you can just drag in your timestamps, your .srt files. And so what's cool is that basically I have a lot of files that are, I have a lot of live streams. And within my live streams, they're like 3 hours long or so. And so what's crazy about that is that, like, how am I going to generate timestamps and do all this stuff for, showcasing, contains .srt. And so like what's really tough is let's see, transcript. I'm trying to find my transcript so I could drag it in here. Let's see, .srt. Let's see. Yes. So I have transcripts in here that are like hours long, and I made an app using, basically Cursor and V0, and it should be able to generate timestamps for those long streams and stuff. So what's really cool is that this is actually going out to the endpoints for like, I think it's using Claude. Yeah, I'm using Claude because I wanted a longer context window. So I basically have taken a 2 hour and 46-minute stream, and I have generated some rules that it follows, and it generated about like 12 to 18 timestamps. So this is the timestamps. I literally can just go like this, copy them into YouTube in the description. It should be able to just basically, so that you can click in the video and figure out where to go. And it's really cool because it actually has like introducing V0, like talks about the different sections at the different times of where things are. And the reason why I really haven't widely shared this is because it's using my API key. And, it's basically, you'll be running my bill up, but I want to put authentication behind it. And what I mean by that is like, I want to have the ability for you to log in, maybe charge you with Stripe as well, because it's going to cost me some money to run every time I run this. And so, I want to make this actually a full-fledged app. And what's nice is that, I was able to implement dark mode and light mode. And so this is just basically how you would work with an app. And so if I do a live stream of how I basically will add, authentication to this app, and then maybe add Stripe integration, I feel like that could be very beneficial to some folks who are trying to make their own SaaS stuff. And it's just a very simple app, but you can see how we can start to add some, complexity here, and how cool it could be as far as useful for this. So I saw that it's possible to voice chat with Aiden into mobile Replit. Possible with Cursor would be so sweet. Yeah, so you can SSH between the two environments. So what you can do is like create a tunnel or SSH from your machine into Replit. And then what's nice is that environment gets pulled right into your Cursor environment. And then from there, you can run a local browser or something like that and have that type of thing. So we'll have to play around with it to kind of see a little bit more details of kind of what that looks like. So that'd be kind of fun. So yeah, this is pretty cool. So I feel like that could be very helpful as far as like apps, making apps and things. But this is kind of what I like to do. I like to make apps, do some streams, hang out with friends. My Friday show every week here that I have is called the AI Tech Salon. And here we basically try to showcase, apps that my friends are making, stuff that's really cool on YouTube, that's on X that's really going on. Any interesting AI updates that may even inspire us to build, like we were talking about this really long context window stuff. We're talking about some really cool apps like the one that Mario made using Flux image generation, where you just type in something, and this is just on an iOS app, will allow you to generate images. This is using AI Proxy Pro, which is really cool. And this is like a framework that was developed by like a couple of folks, Luzel and I forget the other developer's name. And we had them on the show to talk about their apps and so forth. So, for those who are tuning in, this is kind of what we do, is just talk about things just around the neighborhoods and what's going on. And if you have any apps to showcase, I would just say, hit me up. I'm still going through my DMs right now because I'm a little bit behind, but I do want to make that really nice interaction with you. And I just don't want to just send you out generic responses and like, cold things like, hey, thanks for messaging, and just send whatever, or like have an AI respond. I don't feel like that's right. I want to make that personal connection with you. So please be patient. If you have messaged me and I haven't got back to you, I will get to you. I'm actually literally am replying to everyone, one by one. So because I have not done this before. And I have an upcoming workshop for those who don't know that's coming up. So I have a free experimental cursor workshop that I'm trying to do. It's a little 2-hour live stream, similar to my style, just so you get to know me, and also I get to know you. It's free. I mean, there's no, I'm not going to sell you anything afterwards. I'm following the Alex Hormozy strategy, which is literally just give everything away for free. Because I don't know, I really don't know. I'm totally new to this, and I'm not really focused on making money. I'm just focusing on understanding what problems there are. I have experience. You have experiences. We can combine together. I feel like in order to learn code, you kind of have to do stuff as a community. And as a community, that's kind of the ways that I learn faster. And of course, I built this using Cursor, and these are actual comments from the YouTube videos and stuff. And so that'd be kind of fun, even just do a little masterclass of how we got this to be like mobile friendly and fast and performant and stuff. So what's up, squad? Ezekiel, how's it going? Yes, what's going? So with that, I should probably kind of just wrap it up, y'all. So I really thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate the vibes that everyone's been able to kind of hang out with me here and share and connect with each other, because we are all we got, right? You know, like this is kind of what we have as far as like a community and like kind of how we're hanging out here with friends. And it's really important to, you know, be peaceful with each other, spread love, spread education, stay curious, my friends, and whisper URL. So for the, before I sign off, Rob, just send me a DM, Rob, and then I'll send you the little thing because I want you to try out my little app so that you can try my timestamps thing. And then I'm going to have a URL for my workshop thing coming soon. I'm still actually finishing up the code to connect the sign up form to my backend here. So this is like the email address. I still need to set this up so that when you submit, it does a good thing there. So just a heads up. Big up, Ray. Hey, how's it going? Appreciate that. See you around, boss man. Definitely. Yes. So I will have the link available in the description. I will definitely be promoting it on X. And then if you see it on X, if anyone, please retweet it, because that's going to help get it out to more people. It's a free workshop. So literally, you know, you getting that out helps get the word out. And, you know, I'm actually literally like I'm still coding it up. So that'd be kind of fun to kind of do it. I just wanted to give you all a sneak peek because you got to join me today as a Friday, taking that time out of your day to kind of hang out with me. And the free workshop is the hype. Alex Jima, oh my God, this man is a legend. If y'all don't know, I have to tell you this. I have to tell you this before I leave. This is kind of the fun of doing this stuff live, because the boy cooked. You know, this guy has literally done like the world's craziest achievement that's ever been possible. So for the first time ever, we as a society have been able to basically allow ourselves to take advantage of this AI to run offline. So that like you can take basically ChatGPT and meet up with your friends like at a cafe and hang out and run like a really large model. So that 405 billion parameter model can run on 2 MacBooks. And what's really insane is like Alex is one of the first people to really unlock this power and has made this available through his thing called through Axel Labs. So he and his other business partner have been able to make the software available as open source so that you can do this and run them on like really beefy machines. And so what does this mean for the future? That means that like it's like there's a whole thing I just kind of want to launch into. I think it's super important to talk about like AI and kind of where things are going. Is that with AI, what's happening is that this thing, as we can see, it's already coming into apps like Cursor, it's coming into V0, and it's already enhancing people's productivity. And so back in the day, in order for you to be like a member of society and contribute, you had to like work on land. You had to plant seeds, you had to grow them, you had to harvest and do all these types of things and sell them, amongst other things and services that kind of go around that. But the biggest things and the biggest producers in the economy were people who worked on those types of things. In today's world, it's like the information age. So literally, if you can produce knowledge, if you can solve problems faster and do that cheaper, better, and scale it up, you're going to be like the clear winners. And so with AI, as we've been able to see how big of a hack it is, if so few people control those systems, what ends up happening is the fact that then you're dependent on them. So like imagine like not ever owning a house, right? Like because everyone else owns the land and you're not allowed to own it. So like this is putting the power back into the hands of the people because we get to control the AI. We get to like help it do the things. We don't have to be like have someone else control like, oh, you can't look up that information. Oh, you're allowed to code, but you're only allowed to code for like an hour. That's it. You know, it's like because there's too many people using it. It's like, no, I should be able to use it whenever I want. Like this is a system. Like I should be able to do this. And the reason kind of why I did a big break because like this is probably like one of the most important breakthroughs that I feel like we as society are going to look back on saying like this is kind of one of the moments that was so pivotal that changed everything. And I wanted to let you know about this. So Alex Chima, if you haven't had a chance, AC_crypto has done this achievement. This was in July when the model was released on the first day. So definitely check it out. Actually, we have like a 3-hour live stream kind of talking a little bit about some of the technology there. So if you haven't had a chance to definitely go check that out as well. Halim, how's it going? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Couldn't have done it without you. That's right. There's a whole nother post here as well because in this story actually was that he needed the weights to actually to make this happen. And what that means is like you have to download this like giant, like multi-gigabyte file. And it just wasn't really downloading for him. So I was able to like show up to his house and then like get this configured and stuff. So that was actually really cool. So senses.ai, thank you for your content. Hey, I really appreciate making the content. It's really fun to connect with everyone and just share my passions for AI and all these different things that are kind of going on. So they did definitely explain. Yeah, definitely. So definitely appreciate that. So definitely kind of wanted to share like that note and kind of end on something like that to think about. It's like back then, farming and everything, if you own land, if you were the lord of the land, you were like the king, right? You were like controlled the economy. You controlled everything because automation back then was literally planting seeds and waiting them to come out and give you, food, right? And so in today's automation, AI is that, right? You put something into this weird system and something comes out and bounces around the other end. And people are trying to figure out what is that thing that you put in. So think about the land and then think about AI. You put something into this AI thing, it comes out the other end. People can't explain to you today how seeds really, work and like how, people have these sciences, right? They have like, you have to put this amount of heat and you have to do these things and it produces the output. AI is kind of that same thing. You kind of think about it. So I'm going to leave you with that to think about. And I'll see you on Sunday as I do a code stream coming up with my friend Ronald Monak. We're going to be talking and coding a little bit of Swift. So it's going to be a little bit of an advanced lesson. If you're a Swift developer, definitely tune in. This is going to be really interesting because, Ronald comes in with his experience with Swift, but he's never used Cursor. I've used Cursor a lot, so I'm really curious, like, can this really code? Can Claude Sonnet really code with Cursor and Swift? And, how do we hook that up together? It's probably going to be a very long live stream, so just buckle up, stay tuned in. You may learn a lot. I have some prompting techniques we can help, and it'd be just really, really interesting to kind of check that out. And later throughout the week, I'll be having some more interviews with folks who are doing some cool stuff in AI, also like with image generation. So definitely tune in. It's going to be really, really cool to do that type of thing. So on that note, thank you for tuning in. This is the AI Tech Salon with your host, Ray Fernando. Ronald Monak is currently out today, but we're going to be hanging out on Sunday, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, the next day. Who knows? All right. Take it easy out. Peace.